The very first thing that I wanted to cover is the assistants. And so I think the best way to think about these is that, with ChatGPT and Magic School and Brisk, which are all things that Jeremy and I have covered in past episodes, those things, when you're chatting with the chatbots that are in those systems, SchoolAI has their own, but one thing that's nice that they've done is they've kind of taken the chatbot concept and they've honed in on, particular like subset of prompts that you might go through as you interact with the different chatbots. So you can actually see on the right hand, there's this card where it says see all assistants. And if I click on that, you're going to get to start. There's 9 different chatbots, and those, you can start any of those. And the idea here is that they're trying to get you to kind of focus in on one particular task. And so, there's things like field trip coordinator, Common Core expert, curriculum coach, AI and education coach. Any of these are fine to start with, and they'll ask you different questions when you go into them. But if you have the very first card is where I'm going to go into, just to show a little bit about what this looks like. And this one's called the co-teacher. So when we go into that, you're going to get your normal, kind of what we have always seen with these conversations that you have with the chatbot. And you can write in your message here. So if you have something particular like that you would like to have them have the chatbot start with, you can certainly put in a custom prompt. But you can also choose one of these cards, which should be geared more towards that specific chatbot or assistant, they call it. So, and we're going to do the help me plan my day. You can see here, I did one prior, and this allows me to either see the previous one or I can start a new one. So let's say for this, I want to do help me plan my day. Okay. And so it starts by kind of giving a little introduction and then asking me for the step-by-step process. And so it says, could you provide me with a rough list of tasks or commitments you have today? How many hours are you planning to work? And some just basic stuff to get started. So one thing I could do is I could say, I need a lesson plan for today on Minnesota State Social Studies Standard. (9.4.1.1). We'll try that. Okay. So designing a lesson plan. So it kind of walks you through what you could do to start planning your day. Now this is going to be pretty general, and it's giving you some pointers on what to do to get that process started. What I could do after this is ask it this question here, and actually it looks like it's still thinking. There we go. Okay, so could you design the pacing and assessment for this lesson? Okay, so it's going to start to now use what I gave it previously of that 9.4.1.1 standard and put it in, and then it's now focusing more on the lesson plan that I would like. So what you're going to find too is that when Jeremy and I go through some of the different tools, you will notice a lesson plan tool on there as well. And that's something you could just start right from the tools dashboard if you would like. But this at least gives you some insight into having like the co-teacher chatbot and what you can do to, have it start to help you with your day. My previous one that I had was I did something somewhat similar, and I did a science standard, and it is pretty consistent, I would say, where it gives you some pointers first on how, because I think it really kind of assumes in this prompt anyway, where I'm asking it to help me plan my day, it's kind of taking more of a backseat approach and giving you pointers as to how you could get that process rolling for yourself. But then if you're requesting of it something particular, then it'll produce that for you. In this case, what I actually did was I put in a science standard, and it gave me that same thing that you just saw that was developed. And then one thing I did was I actually put in, sorry, I meant social studies standard, not science. And then it corrected, and it found the right standard and then produced that for me. Okay. And I should mention too that I actually did, when I had it produce this standard, it at first it found, so I gave it the standard number, but what happened was it didn't have the right standard language or the substrand correct. And so if I go down a little bit further, after it gave me this initial information here, I noticed that, and then I said, I think you did the wrong, the strand is history, substrand is historical thinking skills. So I did have to actually correct it on what it produced, and then it gave me the correct substrand. And then from there, I did the lesson. So I think one thing that I could point out with that is to just be careful about looking over what it produces for you. And I know Jeremy and I have said this over and over again. And I think that's just kind of the going rate with these AI systems, is to be cognizant that it's not always going to produce what you want. It's trying, it's pulling the information, and then I just had to correct it, and then it produced the thing that I wanted.
I think always a good reminder, you are always the expert of your classroom, the students, the content, and everything else. So, use it as a guide, but always double check its work, just like you should be doing of all sorts of things.
Yep, definitely. So I just want to take a step back. Again, you could start with any of these cards, and if you want to do some curriculum coach stuff, you could have it geared more towards that, and that's fine. So I don't know how these will progress, and at this time, and how more in depth or more focused they'll become. With like ChatGPT, we were seeing people create GPTs for certain tasks, and so everything is tailored to that. And so I think as we move on, these will get better and better, and then you'll have much more focused time on a particular task, and they may add cards in here. We'll just have to kind of see how that progresses.